Hello and welcome to Tutorial Monday episode 2. I'm your host Giuliano Galli. So what we are gonna do today is that I'm gonna show you how to maybe reuse the photos that you thought were bad and making them look good, because at the end of the day, if you are shooting with in a RAW or other formats like these that are very data rich, you can always recover pretty much anything as long as it isn't like literally just a blank white picture or a dark underexposed mess of darkness. So this photo, this is shot on a Sony a7 III, and why I've chosen this photo is because I was going through my archive and I found this, and I don't know why I didn't use this one like earlier. It's almost 1.5 years old, but this could be a great example of some photos that you thought were bad, you wanted to discard them, just delete them, but you didn't, and now you're here. Now you can make this photo look better than you actually expected. Why don't we jump into it? First things you want to do, always, it helps you see what you are working with, is going down, all the way down, and here to optics. In optics you will enable lens correction, which pretty much just takes, if you have any distortions, like in circle and stuff like that, it will straighten it out, it will make it look better. So you enable it. If you're shooting with a modern camera, you might see that it already applied it, and that is because it knows what it was shot with. In your toolbar, or you can click C on your keyboard and it will open the crop tool. Now, keep in mind, if you're posting to Instagram, you wanna keep the photo about 4:5. That's the format that is the biggest format that Instagram supports. So you can do it vertical, horizontal, it's up to you. You will go here in aspect ratio, click it and hit 4:5. Now this is a horizontal photo, so it automatically thought I wanna crop this horizontally. So what you could do if you're not happy with this, you could just hit here this button, rotate aspect ratio, and it would make your photo vertical. I'm gonna crop it for example like this, because as you can see on the left there is a lot of blown out stuff that doesn't look good. So I'm gonna just crop it out, keep this part of the photo, maybe a little bit smaller. You might need to adjust it horizontally if it's not straight. In my opinion, this looks pretty straight. You can see there is a blurred person in the background here, but everything looks good, so I'm not gonna modify it in any way. But if your photo is, for example, just off, like it's not straight, you can hit the button here at straighten. It will automatically straighten it. You see, Lightroom thinks mine is not correct, but I believe it is, so I'm going to just hit Ctrl Z and have it like I want it. So then enter, you're done. Let's adjust the light settings. Okay, so if you want the filmic look, you will hit this button next to light. It is the tone curve, and it will open this scary looking line. Now, it is intimidating, I know, I've been there, I still kind of don't like it, but it can do very useful stuff. So from this setting, which is this weird tangly line, you will hit the point curve, which is this one right next to it. And here, just remember this. This is the white, these are the blacks. So if you want a filmic look, you could take this, lift it up, and make an S just by hitting in the middle. And as you can see, just like that, if I just show you the original, you can use the reverse bracket for that. It's next to the left shift button. And as you can see, this makes the blacks really like soft, almost creamy. But actually, as I was experimenting with this photo specifically and the tone curve, I found out I like this filmic look, so I'm gonna keep this. Now, if you wanna get crazy, you can go later on in effects and add in grain manually, so it looks more like a film photo, you know. You can mess with this stuff, but I don't like adding grain, you know. I'm fine with adding some overlays in Photoshop and stuff like that, but you know, grain just simply looks better on a camera like this, so I'm not gonna fake something that is just not comparable. Now, exposure, I will do a quick rundown of these sliders and what they do. So exposure, as you might guess from the title of the name of this, it will make your photo either or brighter or darker. And also, I would highly recommend, while editing your photo, hit the three dots here on the side and open histogram, show histogram. What this does is it shows this weird graph thing, you know. What does it do? This shows you the amount of exposure in your photo. So, for instance, think about the left side being the darkest. As you can see, if I take the exposure, I bring it down, everything shifts to the left, which means that is the darkest side, and the other side is exactly the opposite, it's the brightest side. So this is used, for example, if you want to print the photo, with this you can predict the result. So if the photo is too underexposed and you know you have too much stuff on the left, you can have some areas that the printer will just print straight black, like no colors at all, just black. The same goes for the other side, but instead of the picture just being black, you will have bright white spots, you know, just literally just clean paper. So now finally to the sliders. We've talked about exposure, you know how it works. Contrast. Contrast, as it sounds, it just like, you know, defines contours and boosts saturation, which is a big thing to keep in mind. If you lower contrast, it will lose some of saturation and also detail in the corners and the bends in the fabric and stuff like that. So if you make the contrast higher, I would recommend going down here in color and decreasing the saturation a bit. I will make an example. If I decide to punch this up, you can see there is a lot of color, like a lot of saturation. So you can go down, take the saturation, desaturate it a bit, keep the sharp corners, but not keep the high saturation. So that's one. Highlights. Highlights are exactly what the right side of a histogram is called. So what you want to do is, you know, just mess it with it, and it can always impact a photo in a different way. Now, if you are looking at this photo, you might see like if I bring the highlights down, it will reveal a bit of details here in the left side of the photo. Shadows, that's what the left side of a histogram is called. So when you have underexposed images, you have less detail. And shadows is what the area that the detail is found in is called. So if you lift this slider, it reveals a lot of more detail. But keep in mind, if you increase shadows, you will have more grain in the photo, because you're lifting stuff that wasn't meant to be there. Whites and black are as it sounds. It just lifts the white or the black. So I usually like to take it down a bit, so you get the nice blacks. I really love black color, so that's my style, and I like to do it like this. Now if you get down here to color, there is an important thing to do or to consider doing. It might be time expensive, like you will spend a bit more time doing this, because it's really intricate, and it's not small details, but it can seem really minor. So what Color Mixer does is that it opens this tab, and here you can choose either all the colors and hue, saturation, luminance. Let's take a color that is pretty well represented in this photo, and that will be yellow and orange. You can see exactly the color by hitting this target, and by hovering over this you will be able to see what colors you are hitting. If I go and grab the hue slider and I will push it up, you can see that the sweater changes color to magenta pink, stuff like that. And on the other side it is greenish. These sliders can really help you just change the look of the photo like by a lot in post. Next is the saturation. Saturation just desaturates the color entirely, or saturates it more, depends what you decide to do. But luminance, you see, it just makes the color even brighter or darker, and if it's darker it will get more detail out of it. Now we can move on to effects. This is these are features that were implemented about 1 year ago, and there are some fun sliders in here. So texture, as it might sound, maybe you want to lift the texture in the pants, so you just take it and ram it up. And as you can see, it lifted the texture in the sweater and everything. The chain also looks more like sharp and textured. The metal, you can see it. Take a look. If I lower it, it kind of blends. So I'm gonna put it like to 45. As you can see, it just lifts more a bit of the core texture of this. Like, it makes it look raw, like, you know, good, in my opinion. This might not be your cup of tea. Absolutely, I get it. This slider is really like even more useful in portraits, like if you're taking a photo of a tribal man that leads his tribe, and you take a photo of him and the photo just looks soft, it doesn't portray his personality. You can do it with pretty much everyone. So keep that in mind. You can make a photo look really, really good, but you can also mess up and make it look pretty bad. But on the other hand, this has a useful feature if you wanna, for example, take a photo of a woman, and you wanna keep her like you know, soft skin. You grab the texture and you put it on the other side. As you can see, it makes the photo less, not really less sharp, but it just blends in more the corners, so it's not just like a sharp edge, but it is more like soft, so use it according to your photos. Clarity is a tricky one. Clarity, what it does is it either just does this weird stuff that I really don't understand why it exists, or it can define even more like corners and stuff. It will, essentially what it does, it will define more edges, but it will suck out colors. Do not overuse this. If you overuse it, people can see it, and if you're not taking a really drastic photo, it will look bad. I can pretty much guarantee it. So keep it low, for example at 15, 10. That will just subtly boost it, like the edges and stuff, but use it carefully. Dehaze is good for landscapes. It will just lift the contrast a bit, and it will, for example, get rid of fog, and it can just make it look more weak, so it doesn't just obscure your view. It makes it just a little bit more visible through. So dehaze mainly for landscapes. I will link the links of the Instagram profile of my friend that I took the photo of. He makes music on SoundCloud and has pretty nice photos, so definitely go give him some love. And I would love to thank you for watching if you made it all the way here. It's probably gonna be a long video, but I appreciate you if you made it all the way here. I hope it's helpful. It should be. But anyways, if Lightroom looked intimidating to you, now it doesn't have to. And also, if you wanna support me as a creator so I don't have to pay as much money to be able to produce videos, I would really appreciate if you hit the link in the description for Epidemic Sounds. That's my music source, and if you sign up, it will help me, make more videos, because making videos is expensive. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you if you sign up with that link, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching, and peace out.
Enchanté.